What's going on, guys? Chandler's Legacy Farm here. Today we're going to be talking about my crossbow. All right, I'm still a little under the weather. I may do some coughing through this video. I hope not. But this is my CP400 crossbow. Now, they quit making this crossbow as of this year. If you're watching this, 2025, they quit making this crossbow. Why? I really don't know, but Centerpoint does not make this crossbow any longer. So why am I showing this off? Well, this is the one I use, so this is what I got. I do have an old CP, what is it? A Centerpoint Sniper 370 or something like that, the old sniper crossbow. I still have that one, and that is my spare for in case this one explodes. So with crossbows, it's only a matter of time before they're going to explode because there's just entirely too much violent shit goes on whenever you pull the trigger on one of these crossbows in this small area right here. All right. Eventually, it's going to happen. Limbs are going to crack, strings are going to break, things are going to happen. But this is my crossbow, and I have gotten some new broadheads for it. So a little bit of story time here. Go ahead and lean in if you wish. And story time is I shot a pretty nice buck, and I thought I put a pretty good shot on him, and I never found him. And this was the day before rifle season started. And back on the last day of bow season, before rifle season kicked off the next day. Me and my two nephews, we looked for that deer. We could not find it. We lost the blood trail. We ended up calling another cousin of mine, and he brought out one of his dogs, and his dog was able to trail it quite a ways farther. But then when he got down into this big holler, there was a bunch of hogs down there, and the hogs ended up messing up the entire tracking situation because hogs went everywhere whenever they busted them up. So the hogs screwed all of it up for the dog. And then the next morning, I went back down in there, opening morning of rifle season. I go back down in there, and I'm looking for my deer, and I never did find it either. I've hunted back there a couple times since then, thinking that maybe I could see some crows flying up and down in a certain area or some buzzards. I actually did that once. I lost a deer with a muzzleloader one time, and I was able to recover that deer a few days later. The coyotes had already picked him pretty clean, so there was nothing left to eat, but I did get the horns. But it does happen, guys, is what I'm saying. It does happen. So what I'm going to get into here and the reasoning for these new broadheads, I lost that deer. Well, in talking to my nephews, one of my nephews uses the same broadheads that I do, and these are like a cheap imitation Rage hypodermic is what they are. I've been using these since basically 2017. 2016, they made it legal to use crossbows in the state of Missouri. So I have been using these broadheads ever since then. You can buy them pretty cheap online, and they're less expensive than a Rage. And for years, they had been doing the trick, right? So I bought some new broadheads a while back. Well, last year, the year before, I bought some new broadheads, and I noticed that they didn't seem quite up to par. They're I don't know. It's sharp-ish. They're not super sharp. I don't know. They just didn't seem quite the same consistency as before. So therefore, I questioned that. And then my nephew said that he had taken a couple of deer with his newer ones that he'd purchased, and he was experiencing the blades breaking off. Well, I shot that young doe a few weeks ago, and the blades were broke off of it. And I don't know. I mean, when it passes through the animal, if it hits a rock, it's probably going to break things off. But I think I made a very good shot on that. It looked like lung. Okay, he was only 20 yards. Big body deer, though. I will say that, big body deer. And he just, I don't know. I couldn't find him. So in talking with my nephews and doing some more research and talking with my cousin, who is actually a he runs a guide service here, and does hunts. He hunts, he does hunting for a living. And so I got to talking to him, and he recommended these. These are I'll put this down. These are the Dead Ringer Super Freak Extreme Broadheads. They are 100 grain broadhead. They are called the Super Freak, and they have got two blades that open up when you shoot. When you shoot into an animal, the blades will deploy, and the cutting diameter is nearly 3 inches wide. Okay, the cutting diameter, the width of this slice that's going to be going through the animal is nearly 3 inches. To where these are like, I don't know, 2 inches or maybe a touch under. I can't remember exactly. But what I'm going to be doing today is talking about these broadheads, and I'll talk a little bit about this crossbow. Why Centerpoint would have discontinued this, I don't know. I have two complaints about this crossbow. Okay, the stock, it was a little rattly, and I actually just took some black tape and I just taped the damn thing. I set it in a position that worked good for me, for my eye relief, for the scope, and I taped it down, and it doesn't rattle nothing like it did. It had a little rattle, just enough to annoy me. So therefore, I just taped it. I mean, who cares? It's my crossbow. I just put some black tape on it to hold it more solid, and that worked. The other thing that a lot of people complained about this crossbow was the trigger. It does have a very long, heavy trigger. When you think of a crossbow, you're not thinking of the trigger on something like a precision hunting rifle. You're not thinking of the trigger on something like something like a 1911. These do not have great triggers to begin with. This one is probably close to one of the worst. It's not real hard to pull. You have to pull it back a long ways before it goes off. Similar to something like a revolver when you shoot in double action, okay? Think of a double action trigger. That's kind of what this thing has going on with it here. It has a really long trigger pull, okay? So once you get used to that, and once you've shot this crossbow a few times, you get in groove with it, okay? So that didn't bother me real bad, okay? I got used to it. It's what I'm saying. I've used this crossbow now for close to 5 years, I think. This thing came out, and the year it came out was the year I bought it. Maybe the year after. It was somewhere in that vicinity. And I know these things were about $900 is what they were. And a lot of people can't get over the fact of spending that kind of money on a crossbow. Our bow hunting season here in the state of Missouri lasts like 3 months or something like that, right? Rifle season is a week and a half. So if you're going to spend $1,000 on a rifle or more, $2,000 on a rifle, just to be able to hunt with it for a week and a half, why would you not take close to that same $1,000 and spend it on a good crossbow that you can hunt with and carry almost 3 months out of the year? I'm just saying, why not? Instead of buying these super cheap junk crossbows, try to find something that's good. And at the time, this thing was pretty much top of the line for what you could get for the money. This does have the same helicoil technology as the Raven crossbows, but it's only 6 inches wide. Whenever it's cocked, whenever it's loaded with an arrow, it does have a drop down stirrup here, so you can use it as a here comes that cough, as a bipod. This thing is actually awesome. Why Centerpoint quit making this, I don't know. But it is what it is. They don't make it no more. I personally love this crossbow, and whenever it explodes, I'll go find something similar, okay? Since you can't buy this new anymore. I will find something similar, though. This thing does have a scope that the little circles in it for your yardages, it is written on it from 20 yards all the way out to 100. Would I take a shot at an animal at 100 yards on a deer? No. About 60 yards max is what you need to do for a deer, my opinion, guys. So it does illuminate the little dots in there. It does illuminate them in red or black, and you can dial in the brightness of it, which is awesome. this scope is very awesome that is on this crossbow. I really, I mean, sure, I think every crossbow is going to have its little bit of things here and there that you're not going to like. But overall, this has been my favorite crossbow that I've ever owned. And I mean, I've only owned 3, including this one, but I have been around a few other ones and held a lot of other ones in stores. And I still come back to really loving my center point. So the CP400 with the helicoil technology, I don't know why they would have quit making it, but they did. Either way, let's go ahead and pull these other 2 arrows out. We'll go ahead and get them pulled out of the quiver. All right, we'll get that one pulled out. The quiver on this thing is actually on the opposite side. Let me pull this up. There we go. You can kind of see there where the quiver mounts, and you can mount the quiver on either side. So it's totally ambidextrous. It has a safety on either side. You can put the quiver on either side. It's a very ambidextrous crossbow. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to set this off to the side, all right? And so let's go ahead and let's screw these broadheads off. Let's get these off. These may still get used, you know, in a pinch, but I'm really wanting to see what these other ones will do. These Dead Ringer Super Freaks. So let's go ahead and pull the shock ring off of one of these so I can expand the broadhead. And come on, there we go. There is your total width of that broadhead right there, okay? That's the total width. Let's go ahead and come on, work with me here. Yeah, it's 2.25 inches wide. 2.25. That's the width on this thing. 2.25. All right, and that's if you get full expansion. Okay. Now, this is 2. So this has got a 1/2 inch wider cutting diameter. 2.75. Okay. So I'm sorry, guys. I've still got this going on. I haven't even. It's been raining. And I haven't hunted in the last 2 days because of this rain and the flu that I cannot seem to kick. So let's see. Let's see what it says. Supreme stopping power. Use the Super Freak Extreme. Durable O-ring lockdown blades. Steel contact. Oh, or no. Blah, I can't even read. Durable O-rings to lock down blades until contact. Aircraft grade aluminum. 032 stainless spring steel blades. Easy blade replacement, of course, engineered for field point accuracy. That is another reason why I shoot a mechanical broadhead, because a mechanical broadhead shoots just like a field point. A field point is one that just looks like the end of a bullet, right? Your practice tip. So here we go. This thing, you push up your little shock ring just like that, and that is the way it sits on your arrow. We'll go ahead and screw this one on. All right, we're going to get this one screwed on. Another good thing about about a mechanical broadhead, is there's really no tuning because they fly like a field point. What I mean by tuning is if you're shooting a fixed blade broadhead that's not mechanical, whenever you screw that thing on, it needs to line up with your fletchings, all right? That needs to line up with your fletching, so therefore it is tuned and it's cutting the same wind as it is flying. If it's not tuned, your arrow is going to do this number, okay, through the air, and you're not going to have accuracy. So with a expandable, you do not have to tune them to the fletchings on your arrow. Okay, let's get out. Let's go ahead and take this other one out that's already together. I'm not going to mess with these at all. I'm just going to screw these 2 on there, okay? And that's literally all I have to do is screw them on there, okay? There we go. I'm not going to mess with it. It is what it is. All right, we're going to screw those 2 on there. This one here, it's already in deployment. It's already deployed. I'll take the little rubber O-ring off, and that is what that is going to look like. Now, let's go ahead and compare it to your imitation rage hypodermic. That is, yeah, there we go. That's your differences right there. That is a mean ass looking broadhead. All right, that is awesome, guys. That is just awesome. So you're looking at a 2 1/4 inch with that one. They say 2 3/4. This is actually a touch over 2 3/4 inches. That one is a touch over. Okay, guys, that is awesome. And these blades are extremely sharp. I was telling you about the sharpness on these. These are not that sharp. They're sharp, but they're not sharp enough, in my opinion, guys. So maybe they haven't changed the design on these much, but maybe they just haven't. Maybe they're just not sharpening them as well as they should be. I'm not sure, but this is like a cheap knockoff of a Rage hypodermic, and you can find these online. They actually sell them on Amazon. I'm not going to post a link or anything to these because I'm not a huge fan of these anymore. They have their issues. But there will be a link in the description box down below to the Dead Ringer Super Freaks. These are about $40 for 3 of them, maybe $42 for 3 of these. So they're a lot more expensive than these hypodermic knockoffs. That's for sure. But sometimes you need to spend some money. I'm just saying, to have quality. Like I said, those seem to be fine back in the day, I should say, a few years ago. These seem to be fine. And if you still love, a Rage, just go with a Rage hypodermic. They're kind of, $38, $40 too, the same as these. But I wanted something different, something big, something that I probably won't lose a deer with. I'm hoping, right? When we pull the trigger on no matter what it is, whether it be a longbow, a compound bow, a crossbow, a rifle, a handgun, whenever we commit to pulling the trigger, we don't want shit to suffer, We do not want things to suffer. So what I'm doing now is I'm sliding that little O-ring up on there. And there is a little piece right here. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. There's a little lip right there that ring is supposed to be past. Just past that. Okay. So we have that one all folded up. That is the way it is going to ride in the quiver. All right, let's screw this on there. Now, let's do the old, I don't know if I can do this on camera. I'm going to try to do the old roll test, just to see if this thing looks straight. I can't do it there. Damn it. Let me pick this up. Looks like it's running pretty true from what I can tell. All right. They say these run really true. I have saw a few things that says that these might hit just a touch low. But to be honest with you guys, it seems like I have a problem with hitting things a little high with my crossbow. So, a half-inch low is probably just going to help me out a little bit. So there's that, right? My crossbow is dead on. Don't get me wrong. When I shoot it from a bench, it is dead on. But it seems like whenever I go to pull the trigger on an animal from a tree stand, I always have a tendency to hit a little higher than what I want to. So if these are actually going to hit just a little low, it's probably just going to help me out. That's all I'm saying. You just in an instance like that, you just have to know you. You have to put in the time hunting to know you and to know what you do and how you react in certain situations. That's what I'm saying. I've hunted enough years. I know me, right? So it did come with some spare O-rings for the blades. I will definitely keep those in the box. It did come with, let me see, 1, 2, 3 extra O-rings is what it did come with. So that will stay in the box, and I will keep the box, and that's how that'll work. I may actually put, excuse me, I may actually put a couple of these O-rings actually in my bag in my hunting bag actually, because I have some other ones in there now. So yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. I have the other O-rings in there that fits these broadheads, so I'll have to switch those out. But either way, come on, jeez Louise, get in there. I'll get that done, and so that's it, guys. We're just talking about crossbows, talking about broadheads, talking about my horrible luck. So that's it. Hopefully if I get to harvest an animal with one of these, I will get to show you the damage, and we'll see how they work out. So that's it for now. Hope you liked the video. Thanks to all the new subscribers. Love you guys. I appreciate all the positive comments. It's all great. We're out of here. This is Chandler's Legacy Farm. If you like what I'm doing, like, share, subscribe. And we'll be back tomorrow with another video. Today must be Saturday because you're seeing me, and it is after 3:30. Tomorrow, I'll be back again, 3:30 Central Standard Time. We will see ya.